Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Casually Kicking It. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms if you don't already do. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure that you give us the subscribe now that we're on YouTube. And make sure that if you are into merchandise, we have our own merchandise, Casually Kicking It merch. Go ahead and check that out at Store Frontier. And type in the search engine, Casually Kicking It. The store should come up, and go ahead and get your Casually Kicking It shirts, all that good stuff. Make sure that you give us some great reviews on wherever you're listening to us on, if that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.
Yep.
Please give us a review, and if you like it, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give us a review anyways. I don't really care. That's, to me, a good thing.
If you don't like it, just hang up or shut us off. That's all. Bottom line.
So without further ado, we have a very special guest with us today, all the way from California, family friend. He's probably almost as close as a little brother as anything else.
Sure.
We have Brandon on the show with Blizzard Entertainment. Dude, welcome to the show. I know you've listened to the show before. You follow us. I appreciate that. How's everything going, man?
It's an honor to be here. I'm ready to casually kick it. What's going on?
There you go. That's what's up.
So, any of you guys want to ask Brandon a question before I do? Because I know I always end up taking everyone's time when we start talking. So,
what made you want to go into this type of field?
My habits. I play
Your
a lot of games. I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure that a lot of people could sit there and think about that. Like, man, I play a lot of games. Like, I would love to work in the gaming industry, and just a lot of vocalizing it and putting it out there. Just kind of made me feel like if I could do something on the worst day, it would be gaming.
There you go.
That's good.
If I had to work, it would be gaming.
How long have you been working? How long have you been working for Blizzard?
It's been 6 months now. So I just hit my 6-month anniversary. It's been great. Love it here. It's been a dream so far. I can't say how great it's been. I think we're experiencing a little lag.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll ignore it.
We
It's
all
all
know
good.
that's COVID time, man. We're all on social media doing this stuff.
Pretty much.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Well, we got the gist.
definitely.
That's awesome, bro. I'm really proud of you, man. The fact that Blizzard, that's a big deal.
Yeah, man. Thanks, bro.
Blizzard
Just a question real quick. So because I think Matthew Moore, Mr. Black Stack down there, he is an avid video gamer. Like we both are, me and Ed, but I mean Matt breaks stuff down. So what advice would you give him if he wanted to go that route to what you are?
Well, it's good that he's already thinking about breaking stuff down, right? Because for a long time I was playing video games and I didn't really have like an actionable skill set that would make me hireable. Eventually I switched gears and you start gaining enough knowledge about the game to where you can explain what you're doing. And that's kind of a different side of the brain, like as far as being like a high level player, sometimes being high level and dense in game knowledge can perpetuate you to that level to where you're hired as well, besides being like a esports god or something like that. So
esports god.
Yeah, that's like where everyone tries to go through that route, is like, oh, if I get really good at this game, something's gonna happen. And that might be the case, but it's kind of like athletes, like it's just like an opportunity to make money. There's like, you can't play forever. So
Right.
yeah, so you have to eventually develop that analytical mindset to be able to tell people and explain what you're doing, just to be able to teach, and that's the difference between playing a game and being employed in the gaming industry. Usually the mindset is just a little different.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, Matt, that's what you got to do. You got to break down your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's a little bit mushy from our end that I know.
So are you able? Are you able to?
Hey, man.
Are you able to discuss what it is that you do with Blizzard at all?
I work on World of Warcraft, and I work on encounters. So bosses, dungeons, things like that. That's
Awesome.
Wow,
exactly what
look
I
at
do.
that.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, the one game
That's
that
the
got a
creepy
movie that
stuff.
didn't turn out to be a very good movie, by the way.
I know
The
we
movie
gotta
was pretty
Man,
good. What are you
keep it
talking about,
going.
man?
Gotta keep it going. I love the movie.
I thought the movie was really
The
good.
movie
Yeah,
was
I thought it
great.
was
Yeah, the
solid.
movie was great. The movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
No,
You
you're
just
being
said it wasn't
sarcastic.
good.
We actually
No,
enjoyed the movie, bro.
whatever, bro.
It
How
was
are
better
you going
than
to
Game of
say
Thrones.
that?
It was better than Game of Thrones, okay?
Yes, better than Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
we
no,
can't
you
talk
did
about that
not
finale
just
for
go
Game of
there.
Thrones,
The
man.
ending ruined everything. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
I've spent years watching that show, and then in like an hour, it was all destroyed.
Oh, yes. Yes. The replayability of that show is completely gone.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
Yeah.
pretty much.
It's
You're
like,
right.
oh,
So, like,
she's
were
on her
you big?
dragon.
Were
Go
you
ahead.
a big Blizzard player before you started working? Like, was that the dream company to work for, or was it like, say, another company? Would another company pick you up? What was the company that you would want to go to instead? Not say
You know,
instead of say somebody came first.
I didn't really have like a concrete dream of like getting into the gaming industry. I gotta be honest with you, it's like lightning struck a little bit. Um, so it's just kind of like the games that I did like ended up being Blizzard games though, yeah. So I played a lot of Diablo and a lot of World of Warcraft. But that time playing didn't really equate to how I got hired today. How I got hired today, like that process started when I was like 25, when I started looking at gaming different. All that time before then was really just me enjoying myself.
So how different do you look at gaming? Like when you say looking at gaming different, like how you would better the game itself, how certain things come into pass, and you're like, man, I wish they would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. That type of thing.
Yeah, well, when I was playing World of Warcraft,
Hmm.
eventually I started running out of things to do, and
Okay.
you start developing this mindset. Like you almost start complaining about things, and
Ah, that's Matt. That's Matt right there.
No, no,
you
no.
start
That's
complaining.
me. That's me right now with Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
So eventually you just keep saying you have like these internal battles with certain features of the video game, and then you start saying them to your friends, and then your friends give you rebuttals, and then eventually
Yeah.
you develop into like this analytical beast of game knowledge, and you know exactly why things are just from playing the game. And that's kind of what happened to me, is that I went from just a regular player, and then I was taken under by a really, really good player and my guild leader who actually got me the job, and he expanded me like in my mindset beyond anything that I could have done by myself. So
Wow.
very smart guy, very like you know he's the one who got me here, and I could say
Yeah.
endless things about him. His name's Orlando Salvatore, goes by Kirby
Hey,
AU. He's a really, really good guy, 1%er in this world. For some reason he just decided to pick me on the game, and the rest is history. He got hired and reached out to me, and yeah, got me in the interview, and I nailed it.
That's
So
awesome, man. That's awesome.
it's all about networking. That's really the big
Yeah.
story here, is that friendships, if you keep flourishing them, if you have a good friend and you do the right things around your friends, it pays off. Networking and friendship is really where it's at. It has
there you
nothing to
go.
do with my skills, nothing to do with anything like that. It was about him giving me the opportunity and me being ready for it.
Awesome.
There you go. There you go.
The
Yeah.
what is it? Is working on World of Warcraft similar to playing Dungeons and Dragons?
There's a lot of similarities across all fantasy genres, and it would be like uh, a disservice to kind of like limit it to one.
Okay.
Because World of Warcraft is like a big ship,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like on it, you
Okay.
can see similarities of like different games on it. Like, it's not just World of Warcraft. It's really just a bunch of different games under the name
Mm-hmm.
today. So,
I
bunch of
never really got into it, so I don't. I mean, I guess that was my bad because it was more of a computer game.
yeah.
Like when it first came out, so I didn't have a CPU and any
Oh
of those,
yeah.
gamer cards that you would upgrade your CPU with, so you have more RAM and all that stuff. I never did that, so this is all new stuff to me.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that you're able to do that.
And the only reason why I learned that secondhand knowledge was through World of Warcraft because of the desire to play the game so bad that you inherit all these secondary computer skills. Like I could build a computer now because of
Well,
World of
and
Warcraft.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that
Yeah.
because I want to go there, but not just yet because
Okay.
I want to have you because we have 2 new consoles dropping this holiday season,
Oh, here we
and
go.
Oh, I got
Brandon,
some opinions.
exactly. So
Oh,
Brandon,
please bring them to the table because we gonna pop off, bro. Let's go.
you know my brother,
Yep.
and me and my brother have been going back and forth on some things, and these guys. The other day, I'm hardcore Xbox, and then I was like, well, I think I'm gonna go
Mhm.
PS5, and these guys are pretty much PS5 guys, and they're like, oh man, you're turning to the dark side finally, and I was like, well, I don't know, I haven't really made my decision. Then I flipped it back to Xbox One, but anyways, we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
Just to
I'm
kind of
a
tease,
hybrid.
just to kind of
I'm a
tease that.
hybrid.
I'll
Yeah.
tease
Okay,
that.
I
I'll
do
tease that.
both. I
Oh.
do Xbox and PS. So don't go there, buddy.
I'll tease
Coming
that.
soon. Coming soon.
Yes.
The reason why I asked the whole D&D question was because I feel like D&D players, I mean, I played D&D when I was in middle school, and man, I forgot it's the headmaster, the guy who sets every, I mean, those guys to me have like this imagination of building this world for you that you then, as the other player, take your imagination then takes you there. And I feel like a lot of these guys now are working in video games, and I feel like they make some of the great, some great storylines, some great it just in general, the whole, like, the world, things like that. So I'm wondering, um is there a job specific to that in Blizzard, or like especially World of Warcraft, that reminds me a little bit of that medieval, but it's not totally medieval. I mean, uh,
There's several really interesting positions. Like if you look
mhm.
at Blizzard careers, one of them being historian. I always thought that was interesting.
Really?
Yeah, you can
Wow.
see. I was like, oh, that person has a really cool job,
Mhm.
historian. But yeah, there's some, if you look around on Blizzard's career page, there's some very, very interesting positions that you wouldn't even think that exist. Like mine, for instance, I didn't think that was a position that existed. Like encounters, working on dungeons and bosses. That's if you would have told me as a teenager that this could have been my job, I would have known a long time ago what I was supposed to be doing. But the
Yeah.
fact is that like it's D&D players in general. That game was around for so long, so
Mhm.
I'm sure that the influences from that game do seep into ours. You know,
The
Yeah.
when you mention bosses, can I pick a bone on bosses?
ask away. I can always say yes or no.
Right. Well, why do bosses always have to be these massive, huge things in games?
For visibility.
Is it because, like, I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, why, like for Resident Evil, dog Nemesis, like, why
yeah,
why does he have to be so? You could just make him a
It's
little bit, like,
scary.
like the same
yeah.
size as me, but like everything's got to be like 3 times bigger than me. I gotta use
Yeah.
bazooka launchers.
You know what? I guess it doesn't really make sense as far as like in single player games, but I know in our game grouping, like being in a group, for
Yeah,
visibility, it matters a lot how big the thing that you're attacking is. But if single player doesn't really matter, I guess that's just there for effect. Like you're fighting
Yeah.
a big guy,
Exactly.
get ready. But
yeah,
Comes out of
that's what I'm
nowhere. It's
saying.
like,
It's
oh
like,
my
yeah,
god, what do I do?
It's like in Star Wars, the Last Jet or the Return of the Jedi, when Luke has to go into the Jabba the Hutt and they throw him into the pit with the giant monster. Seems like
Yeah, for
every
real.
boss is that big, and I'm like, come on, man.
It's like a common theme. Like when you think about like bosses, they're just got to be big, ugly nasties.
What game were we
You feel like
playing
you
not too long
accomplished
ago?
something when you win.
Yeah, right.
What game, Matt, were we playing not too long ago where like the bosses? It was the Star Wars, that new one. What was it called?
The fallen Jedi.
Fallen Order.
Fallen
right?
Order or Fallen
Okay.
Jedi. Okay.
Yeah.
Fallen
It's
Order.
Fallen Order. Yeah.
And
I
there was
played.
you start the game and there was a boss that me and Matt were talking about. There's this huge creature, and he's like, I was like, hey man, did you mess with that creature? He's like, hell no, man, I just ran right by him. I said,
Oh, that
I'll fight
giant
you
frog.
because you're not equipped to battle that thing yet. So there's this giant thing. I'm like, dude, I did the same thing. I ran right by him. So we're just laughing because this giant like creature thing, you can't fight it yet because you don't have your skill. I mean, you could try, but like the combat,
one swipe, boom.
I was dying, dude. We were laughing because of that. I was like,
I
just
got
ran by
into in the PS4. Not recently, but last few months, I was in Monsters. It's Monsters of something. But
Monster
it was
Hunter?
like, yes, Monster Hunter. Oh
Good
my
game.
god, I
Good
fall
game.
in love with that game.
Really?
Yeah, I
Oh
love
my
that
god,
game.
yes,
Monster Hunter's
yes.
great.
And you got to go to different worlds to make your own weapons and
Yeah.
your armor, and you got a cat, your little sidekick guy. It's pretty good, bro. When
I love
we
it.
first when demoed that out, remember Ed? We played the little
and
demo.
we kind of gave it a we rented it.
Like yeah,
but we
but
only
then
played like maybe 15. We didn't know what the heck we were doing, anyways.
Yeah,
we
it takes
did
a
we did
minute.
it. But when I started playing it and starting to get to know people that do play it, oh man, I have so much fun with that game.
Yeah, the expansion was really good. I just blew
Oh yeah,
through it. I was like,
yep,
whoa. Spent a ton of time on Monster Hunter World. Great game.
very
So
good.
since we're
Yeah,
on
very good.
games, what games are you playing right now outside of what you work on?
I like to be active on multiple MMOs, so like Final Fantasy 14,
Ooh.
Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, just to keep up with some of the quality of life things that
Oh,
they're doing to see if they're all
get any
good games.
ideas?
Yeah, get any ideas. And then as far as single player games, I've been playing Ghosts of Tsushima and a lot of Warzone with my girlfriend.
Oh, I want to play that so bad. The Ghost
Yeah,
of yeah,
yeah,
because oh man, that looks so badass.
it's
It
so fun.
looks like a good game.
It's so
Yep.
fun when
Oh,
everyone
another
goes to
game
sleep.
you can't play because it's on PS4, buddy.
Nope, can't do it. Nope.
Exclusive,
Sorry,
exclusive.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yep,
Like
man.
God of War, same thing. Can't play it.
Sony
Nope.
with your exclusives.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean,
Stinking.
that's how you win the war. Like that's how you win the gaming war. You have to make
That
exclusive so that it forces you to pick a side.
Depends.
I don't know about winning the game war, but getting ratings, I would say a little bit would be on that end of the scale. But you know, winning the gaming war, they each have their own. Like they have Halo and then Gears of War
But yeah,
for
how often?
Xbox.
How often do these games only come out like once a year? As opposed to like you have
It's the
say
same thing as Call of
say
Duty.
for like Naughty Dog example, they do The Last of Us and then they got Uncharted right after that. So you're still playing like two separate games, but it's from the same company,
True,
as opposed to
that's
like
true.
you know God of War or maybe not the Gears and Halo. They only come out like once every couple of years because they got to we got to make the game better than it was 4 or 5 years ago. It's like Xbox really doesn't have any games that you can just say, hey, this is Xbox exclusive only.
Yeah.
And that's why
Got
I say PlayStation winning the game award. Now Xbox is winning and backwards compatibility. That's practically it. That's practically it. I mean, that's the
yeah.
only thing I give it Xbox is backwards compatibility.
I think that Xbox's use case is also very interesting because, like Microsoft, they are involved in everything. So
Mhm.
it's only to them if Xbox does fail, it's only just them closing their doors on another division, right? well, PlayStation makes a lot of bank on their Sony Interactive division and all those exclusive games to the point where they really need to be reining in all those little rights and like to the point where Xbox doesn't even get Spider-Man now. So
Yeah.
I mean, what is the use case for an Xbox? Well, if you don't have a computer and you're looking for 4K HDR, the best of the best price point, uh, it's hard to beat that Xbox now because you can plug in a mouse and a keyboard into it, and it's essentially a computer, gaming
Pretty
computer.
much.
You can,
You're right.
it's FreeSync compatible, so you can get a FreeSync monitor at your store, and you won't have to deal with any stuttering issues that PlayStation will deal with just naturally because the pipeline of their games. So, what is each one for? The PlayStation. If you already have a computer, get the PlayStation. If you don't have a computer, get the Xbox. That's the way that I think it works out. Because
Okay.
if you lose out on a ton if you just get the PlayStation and you don't have a PC, right? Unless you have games and like that you already are going to transfer over in your friends or on that environment PlayStation.
Yeah.
But if you're just by yourself and you want to have a blast of an experience, that Xbox is going to blow the PlayStation out of the water for single player content on any Universal title just because of the route of the hardware that they're taking. That's all.
So let's get into that real quick.
Yeah.
We have the PS5, Xbox Series X coming out, and you have PC gamers. And question is, my brother is asking me, should I build a computer?
Definitely, always.
Or should I go and save and get a PS5 or an Xbox Series X? But which one of the consoles is better? So, Brandon, you build computers. I know this. Please continue on. What do you think between the two consoles? Which one you would get if you didn't build a computer, and then why you would build a computer over buying the two new consoles?
Yeah. So if I had the option to build the computer, I would always build the computer.
Okay.
There's only one exception. If I can't build a computer that's powerful enough, and that's where the Xbox really comes in and saves the day, because I can buy an Xbox, attach it to a TV, and it works, right? I can eventually upgrade to a monitor later. I can get a mouse and keyboard combo later, headset later, and now I have a full gaming PC station that I can't go do Word on. I can't use Microsoft Word. Other than that, you could do every single thing on that Xbox. So that use case, if you have like $500 and you're like, man, I really want to play computer games or something that's available on the PC, the Xbox is going to have that right because they are Microsoft. Ultimately, they are Windows 10, right? So if you want to invest into that ecosystem anyway, it kind of helps you if you're tight on cash and you're like, man, ultimately I would like to build a PC, but I can't right now. So what's the next best thing? That Xbox Series X is pretty nice. But if you have a powerful PS or a PC already, the only reason for you to get another console is to touch things that you couldn't touch already on your PC. And that's the situation that I'm in. I have a PlayStation right there.
Okay.
And that's for exclusives. Can only play UFC on that thing. I can't play it on my PC. I can't play all those nice RPG games, Ghost of Tsushima. I can't play Final Fantasy VII Remake. I can't play. The list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, they're going to hit you with one of those titles that you really want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what always makes me jump the gun. Like, I don't wait for the launch and like, I'm going to get it now. It's that one title that grabs me. That one title that comes out and it's only for PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. And they get like $700 out of me in one go. So that's what happens to me. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's all entertainment. They're all really good. You're always going to feel like you're missing out on one thing. And that's kind of what it's designed to be like that. So you get all of them. It's kind of the point.
What's the price point in building a decent gaming computer?
It's more
like
expensive
if you're given
than an Xbox.
you're going to spend more than what it would buy what it would be to buy a console, right?
It'll be about $800 for or more for a gamer card
And
itself.
for me
So
to go back on that, I mean, to add to that question is the reason why is because when you see side by side what these consoles are coming with now, the new ones, I feel like I mean, they upped their game a lot with these two new consoles. What they're
yeah,
packing into the Xbox Series X and the PS5. I mean, it's pretty powerful stuff already as it is, and like you said, at that price point that hopefully they're gonna sell it at. Um, so explain to us what would a good gaming computer probably cost us?
yeah. Well, just to elaborate more on like consoles, you get a lot behind that price point because now you have gaming companies who are going to optimize their games for that specific console. And sometimes that optimization will work better than the best hardware that you have in your computer simply because the engineers on their side haven't adapted the new technology yet. So when you have a PC, it's a waiting game kind of for waiting for the new drivers. Right now, in today's age, they come out before the game
Mm-hmm.
is released, but there is instances where you might be running a little bit lower spec than certain consoles at the release date, right? So you get a very like easy experience when you get that console. You don't have to worry about downloading new drivers. You don't have to worry about fixing your microphone. You don't have to worry about those little things. It's quality of life that you pay for and support that you can call and be like, "Hey, this thing broke. All right, we'll send it back to us and we'll fix it for you." It's like when you buy a PC, you're on your own. You're out on the ocean now, and it costs thousands just to put
Wow.
a number on it. Like my computer is not just a one point in time computer. It's been 10 years and I've taken parts out of it and putting parts into it. It's just a machine that's been all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
practically a
And
car.
yeah, and it's like you're in a relationship with it. So it's always going to get a little bit of cash from you every once in a while. You want to get the new game running on it, you might have to spend $500 to upgrade your GPU this year. And that's it's not an easy thing to maintain. Like a lot of people build their computer and they're like they let it rot for 5 years and then they wonder why is
Yeah.
my game not running? Why can't I play this new game? And then they go to the store. How can I run this game? Oh, you got to buy this $800 card, and guess what? That power supply that you have is no longer compatible. So you got to get a new power supply. And that motherboard that you got, that thing's done, dude. You got to get. So you're like, oh my god, $1,000 deep, and you're like, I already bought a computer. I
Hmm.
what? I bought it. So it's definitely an expensive hobby,
It's
and
essentially to me it's like they're trying to detour you from getting the PC.
well, it's just I'm
That's,
just making sure
I was
if
just
you
no,
want to be an
I'm not saying
effective
you.
gamer,
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying like the other companies are saying, hey, let's
yeah,
deter them from going out and buying a PC if they just buy our stuff. We're already giving
exactly
you everything you
with the
want anyways.
features.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you can play it. You could take a PlayStation 4 Pro from the store and get 4K gaming. At the time that PS4 Pro released, to get 4K gaming on your PC, you had to spend a minimum of $1,000. A
yeah,
minimum.
you can have that.
A minimum. So it's going to be like the same effect, kind of like the launch of consoles. There's going to be some features that we don't have on PC, and
Yeah.
you know, there's just the ultimate thing is to get all of them, right? Because if you're a super enthusiast, the PC is the master race. Because when it does get tuned and and they do catch up to the hardware, it is the best experience. The best. It's like
It,
night and
it
day.
was the starter. The PC
Yeah.
was the starter.
Yeah.
well, I mean, what do you think they use to make
Consoles.
these games to begin with?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So exactly.
So,
It's
and a lot of times, a lot of these gaming companies, I'm sure Brandon can, vouch that they're also waiting for the consoles to catch up on the technology because then they can't put out a game the way they want to put it out with the graphics because the gaming consoles aren't in technology wise at that point yet where they are.
yeah. I mean that's always been kind of like a weird problem is like the timing between like engineering and optimization and how can we extract all this power from this unit. And generally today they're really good at it. Like these machines are not really impressive, and they can boot 4K now. Like my computer runs through, like you could put an Xbox and a PlayStation 4 together and it won't do anything to my computer. My computer will run circles around it. But the games are optimized for that thing. And that's what is going to need to improve. Not so much the hardware need to improve. Like throwing faster hardware at a console is a very easy solve for the situation. But in reality, what you'll see happening is that we'll get better and better out of extracting each increment of power out of the hardware that exists today, because they're not participating with each other. The hardware companies and the gaming companies, they don't really do too much together, right? They kind of have their own entities. They kind of bring in like different perspectives of what's going on into the market, right? So video card companies, they want this new thing called ray tracing and HDR and DisplayPort and all these things, right? And then the gaming company hears about it and they're like, okay, so we want to be able to implement that stuff into our game. How do we do it? So it's always like what can we extract out of the hardware?
Is it a pissing contest? Pretty much?
No. It's just everyone has to work together. It's not really a pissing contest.
Okay.
It's just like there's an engineer whose job is to extract as much as he can, right? And sometimes today, like Warzone, my GPU only runs at 60%. But so where's the other 40% going? It's lost in the
the abyss,
the micro code of like who knows what. And that's what's going to improve over time, is that engineers get better and better. They'll get better and better optimization on the current things that we have.
That's cool.
Matt, do you have any questions?
I'm just listening and thinking, like, so many questions are coming in and they're like going out, so I'm like in and out. So like I try to grab one and just stick with it, but man.
Diablo. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're gonna say.
So Diablo was my first game with Blizzard on the box, and it really colored my gaming like view. I was hard on every other game because Blizzard has like this polish that they do, and like this anything that is supposed to work works, and it's just a lot of games aren't like that. And I had immediately compared everyone to these titles, and I was like, man, this game's nothing like WoW. This game's nothing like Diablo. And I really became such a fanboy of it that I didn't realize what it was that I was enjoying. It was just the ease of use, of it all. So Diablo was definitely like a big stamp on me, just because of that, because all the other games at the time were not easy to use. They were like, you log in, get disconnected, you had bad internet, that was it for you, But for some reason, Diablo worked, and that in and of itself at the time was very powerful for me as a kid. I was like, like 12. I definitely wasn't supposed to be playing the game, but I was playing it.
I remember going.
My mom saw the title, Diablo. I hate that game, Papa.
I remember going over to your house, and Brandon had that was when the Sega Dreamcast. He had a Sega Dreamcast. Yeah. And there was a specific game because me and my buddies growing up, we had a thing about it was that whole Fast and the Furious. Before Fast and the Furious even came out, we were all about getting cars and hooking them up. And Dreamcast came out with a game that was like for people who like the street racing life or hook up the cars.
Midnight
Tokyo.
I know.
Tokyo
something.
Tokyo something.
I forget what it
you
was.
Remember
amazing.
That? And we would go to his house to play this game. Huh?
Yeah, it was a Toge racing game. But we had to like
you were basically racing. It would start off you're racing in the streets, and you can flash your high beams at someone if you wanted to race them. And then you would be like, all right, they were, and then if they accepted, they would hit you up, and then you would just start racing in traffic. And it was one of the coolest games because then you also got to get a car, you hooked it up. This was before Need for Speed Underground.
It was called, I just looked it up. It was called Midnight Club Street Racing. No, that's not it.
No, it was called Tokyo something.
Yeah, you're right. Midnight Club is another game that was different.
Yeah. I think that was more of
why do I feel like Extreme I might have heard about this game, but I never played it for Dreamcast? Like I think I heard of it, I just never like sat down and played it.
Oh, it's Tokyo Extreme Extreme Racer. That's what it is. Racer. I'm looking at it right now.
What was it
Say it
again?
again?
Because you broke up. You broke up, so say it again.
Oh, it's called Tokyo Extreme Racer.
Tokyo Extreme Racer. That game,
Yeah.
man, we would go over there and play that game because it was like, it was dope, bro.
Hours.
Nobody had because it just grabbed. It was geared to a certain audience, and no one had really um, made a game to basically, you know, entice that audience out there like that. But the fact that the Dreamcast was so short lived is what kind of stunk, because I mean that Dreamcast was cool. I mean that the Dreamcast really did a lot. Like it changed certain things. I mean they had some
I still
great
have
games.
mine. Still works.
Man, we just had an episode with our buddy Funtime
Wallace.
Wallace, and he
Yes.
collects games and stuff, and he got pissed because I told him I basically sold mine. I had it in the box and everything. I had everything that came in the box, the demo disc, the whole nine. And I got rid of it.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
See, another one
Regretting-
bites the dust. You're
regretting
doing
that.
The other day, I got a $500 offer on a Pokemon card.
What?
whoa.
Yeah, dude. So collectibles are real right now.
Yeah, I know, man.
They're real.
Pokemon. I gotta get into that.
Dude,
You know,
I
Matt,
was like, wow, $500 for this thing. Okay. You can
I know
have
That
it.
means just save that.
Yeah.
I know that you listen to the show sometimes, so you've heard us kind of get on Madden and EA.
Yeah. I'm not
I-
a Madden player.
I mean, you know, I love, you know, I play Madden. I like EA. I loved their boxing games. Fight Night. I loved Fight Nights. I love those
Fight
games.
Night, it was good.
Yep.
Yeah,
but-
Fight Night was my favorite, to be real with you. That was
Fight Night. It's a good game, man. I have it on my PS Vita right now.
my thumbs still hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But
Oh
like
my god.
Matt brings up all the time, you know, it's frustrating to gamers when you feel like the gaming company thinks you're an idiot. And we're in 2020, and a lot of gamers are very intelligent, and especially, you know, Madden gamers. They've gotten more intelligent. They know how the game is played. Some cats that play this game know how to break down plays better than players can break down plays.
Yeah.
So and read defenses and all that stuff for the football game. So with Madden, every year you get upset because you feel like you're getting shafted when they just it's the same thing that you played the year before, but they just kind of changed the headlights. Kind of like, you know, you got a 2012 Corolla here and a 2013. What's the difference? Oh, we just kind of changed on the 2013. You want the new 2013. We just changed the headlights, though. That's all we did to it.
Yeah, a lot can be done with a 10 gigabyte update, like, you know, with Madden. But I think that, you know, that's just the nature of business, the nature of people who make money off gaming, and Madden is a good game. And as far as like it being easy to play, like I had that same like mentality as well when I was thinking about World of Warcraft. I was like, man, why are all these new easy things being added in, and like why are we catering to the people who just aren't as good as me? Like that's what like, just to be succinct, that was really what it came down to. And someone had reached out to me and said, you know what, you should add the World of Warcraft Facebook group onto your Facebook, just so you can get a better picture of who plays the game. And I did that, and I realized that we are biased because we choose our friends, and our friends are good at games. We're not going to be playing with that 60-year-old who just retired who's looking for something to do. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of 60-year-old, 50-year-olds who are playing games who don't know how to play anything. And just know that all that easy stuff is not for you, but it's there for somebody. And that old guy who retired, he's got a lot of cash. So,
Yep.
you know, that's a big player agency to abide by. And when you're thinking about features and stuff like that, player agency is kind of like really important. Each company does it differently. As you could see, some people are like, oh, this company really listens to its player base. And some people are like, oh, there's the iron curtain is up. It's, you know, it depends. But that usually is is the reasoning behind what you just had mentioned. So
All right,
just
yeah, because
business.
I just want to know, because we talk about it, we just feel like we're getting shot because it's like, oh, but it's the same
Yeah, it
game.
feels
They
bad.
we really haven't worked. And then you have some of the game developers on Twitter saying, you don't understand, how much time. I was like, well, it feels like you basically took the same game and you just added a mode to it, but you really haven't focused on what some gamers would like. Like I'm a franchise mode guy, so I like to start my team from the ground up, stuff like that. And I feel like Madden has ignored that for the past like 3 years.
Yeah.
And
That, but
yeah, and there's also some features like what's the game, Matt? The 2K, which one was it? 2K, the football game. Is it 2K8?
what there's in ESPN 2K5 that came out with the Xbox and the PS2.
No, the guy who's on Twitter that always says he's like, oh, this football game was
Oh,
untouchable.
All Pro 2K8. That's the
All
one I'm
Pro
playing right now.
2K8, where
Yeah.
I mean, they have some details in the actual gameplay, like when the football players are running, and the guy like gets injured, you see him grab his hamstring or something, and he's like limping. Just little things that make the game a little more realistic. Where with Madden, it's like a player got injured, you didn't see him get injured. They just put a prompt that says, "Hey, he's got broken ribs. He's out of the game." I'm like, well, I would have liked to see him like on the floor or grab his side, or
But
if
didn't they have that thing where like Mortal Kombat where like you broke the knee and they show like it being
Blitz.
broke?
that was NFL
That's Blitz.
Blitz.
Oh, NFL
Oh,
Blitz.
I love that
I
game.
love that one. I love
That
that
one
one.
was
That was
cool.
awesome.
That was the new NFL Blitz game that came out back for like I think Xbox, and then the 360 one came out eventually.
I
So,
like
like,
That's
that
cool.
one.
what I want to know is like how hard is it to like just if you really, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, the game is pretty much, you've got the game pretty much set. I mean, all you got to do is maybe add something here, something there, just to add more to the realism of the game. But instead you focus your time on adding a different game mode, which I think what they added this year was something kind of like the NFL Street mode or something like that,
Called the Yard.
the
Yeah.
yard. And it's like, okay, cool, but like I want, if I'm playing the football game, I'm a fan of your football. I want to play the authentic football game, not the NFL blitz style. Can we focus more on, so how hard is it? Is it really that hard that, when you already have something that's not, I don't know. I don't know if you can answer or not, but
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. So, each individual title, the undertaking is going to be like unique. So in this case, like it probably seems very easy to add like the features,
mhm.
that you're requesting, and it might not be even that big of a deal to add them. But with the current landscape of gaming, at least what it feels like from where I'm still kind of young in this industry as well.
Right.
So this answer could probably evolve later on. But
Okay.
I feel that what happens is that corporate looks at the numbers and they quantify how much they can put into a game to extract the maximum amount of dollars, right? And once that number gets figured, they hand a team a certain amount of production hours. And with those production hours, they can only do a certain amount of things. Um, and they make executive decisions on what they can and what can't be, and it comes to the end product, right? And you end up with this game as the consumer that feels incomplete, right? Um, that is something that is becoming more common today.
Mhm.
How do I think that's going to be fixed? I think better data analytics, as like AI gets more implemented and ingrained in these companies, more perfect games will come out, and more features and more tools will be created to create these features easily, right? As our tools improve as gamers and game developers, the quicker we can get things done. And it seems like that would be, I would stick with that answer right now. I mean, I'm not
Mhm.
that high up yet, so I don't really
Right,
know
right, right.
too much about the ins and outs of planning, but it seems to be an issue like of disconnection between corporate and a director. They give a director like here you go, do what you can, and the director's like, all right, so this is what we got. We got to
Yeah.
somehow make people happy with this. Ah, all right. So this is what you guys gonna get, you know? And to
I
us, it
mean,
feels like we could just get a 10 gigabyte patch and this would have done the exact same thing. I'm spending $60. And the only way that you can win as a consumer is if you buy the collector's edition and then resell it later. So there's the sports games in general. I mean, they're just locked in by rights, and it's kind of hard to really like,
Yeah.
you know. I'm guilty of buying UFC every time. I don't like the way that they do it. I dislike the whole software life cycle of UFC. However, I enjoy the game so much. I enjoy the franchise. I'll support it. So they get my money.
because I mean, there's a lot of people have been saying like with Madden, they should like stop for 2 years. They should stop making the game for about a year or two, because whatever they feel, some people feel like whatever process is in that game is still there, and that's what's making the game buggy. And then some people feel like it's just the consumers. A lot of people want to play Madden. They just want to throw the ball up with Pat Mahomes and get 100 yards a game. You know what I'm saying? Get like 10 touchdowns a game, and it's not realistic football. So
Yeah.
like people are fighting. You got the sim guys who want to play the game, make it feel realistic, and you have guys who just want to play arcadish. So Madden is stuck between how do we provide everybody and make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna lose, especially with this game coming out every year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, how often does Warcraft come out? Like, how often does a new game come out? Is it still like, are you guys yearly also, or yours is like every couple of years?
It's pretty dynamic. I can't say off the top, but I want to say that it's not really rigid.
Okay.
And it goes by like most like I mean all titles are very unique, right? So like just to go back to the Madden situation, it seems like player agency seems to be the issue at heart, where it feels like people are not getting the kind of game that they want, right? So
Hmm.
the argument for the psychology of play that you guys are after would be like, how good are you at this game? How much more can we make this game fun for you? And um, how much money can we get from you while doing those processes? It's like, and you guys are stuck here like, what? Like, I want to play my game. I want new stuff. And like, I know it would be simple to just make one Madden and just have it update roster changes and things like that. We all know it would be simple to do that. However, there's families and people relying behind EA, and some of them need that cash, man. Some of them, you know, really need to, like, the budgets are not just so free willy like a lot of people think. That time is gone, you know, like where we would get millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to do one game.
Hmm.
You know, it's very rare, very rare. You know, you won't see that $500 million Destiny thing happening like right now. It's like
I like
everyone is.
Destiny.
Yeah, me too. I thought they did a great job, but I mean that is
So
just
did I.
like, I was just, you know, I was
I mean,
sad when
there's
we
a
took
game
off the
like
Battle.net launcher.
there's a game like Street Fighter Five that I played.
Yeah.
That game came out in 2016, and it wasn't complete when it came out. As years, we're on 2020. As the years goes by, they've added updates after updates, more characters. So it feels like you actually got your $60 eventually, but it took them years to go by. But we're still in the same game, you
So
know.
when that happens, that's called, so when a game releases and you know that there's something wrong with it as a consumer, and you're like, man, this is not even the real game. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
What happened in the studio was they see these issues, they recognize these issues, but they're shipping it anyways. Why? Why? It's called
That's what.
known. It's called known shippable, right? It's called a known shippable issue, and a lot of games come out with known shippable issues, and it becomes a thing about deadlines. And starting to get that money going to be able to pay for the people to hot fix the things that you want and do the updates that you want. Because what happens is if they reach their limit and you're like, hands off, you can't touch the game anymore as an engineer or developer or designer or whatever you are for that
The
company.
budget. Yep.
And you're like, oh, but I'm not done yet. And they're like, non-shippable. We'll get it in the next version. And you're like, okay. Okay. And meanwhile, you got to watch every YouTube video of people exploiting that one thing that you couldn't finish.
And then
Yeah.
it's like WWE 2K20 last year.
Oh,
That was
my
bad.
God.
That was hard.
Rest
That
in
was-
Papa John's.
And then it ends up on like on Xbox sales the next 2 weeks for like $20.
$10.
That game was bad, man. I mean,
Yeah.
listen,
Oh,
I love the
horrible.
wrestling games. I have 19. I kept 19. I didn't get 20 because I was like, man, 19 was the best one that I've gotten so far. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a bad one.
I feel. I mean, it was one of the only games that I returned, actually, like
Really?
digitally. Yeah, I haven't. I don't really return a lot
Mm-hmm.
of games, and that one I just had to because I was like, dude, this is nothing like the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good. So yeah, that was a disaster. And sometimes you'll see plenty of more disasters as people try to figure out how to tighten that budget and extract high quality things. It's just you guys are the part of the scientific method. You don't realize it. You know?
Oh, wow.
I always wanted to be a video game tester until I heard what went into being a video game tester, because I know
Yeah.
EA always hires for video game testers.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and-
a big turnaround, big attrition rate, right? So
yeah. I mean, it's cool. And sometimes you might be selected out of the few to continue on. But you're basically paid to try to crash the game that they're working on.
yeah, there's a
Um,
lot of. I mean, that's kind of similar to what I'm doing. Testing as part of one of my responsibilities, one of my major responsibilities. As time has gone by, the position has grown out of just like tester, and companies have figured out that these people are really capable of other things. There's a lot of secondhand knowledge that goes in being able to test that game, right? So
mhm.
communication responsibilities are being handed down to testers now, like emails and things like that, and being aware, like making relationships within the company. A lot of QA and tester people get ahead in that, like in their life by doing things like that, by just going the extra mile to improve a process, or when they do something, they documented every single thing. So when that next person takes their job, they can give them like a standard operating procedure. It's growing beyond
Right.
that little guy that you see in the cubicle doing this. It's good because it's good for the industry because um, a lot of people would love to play video games for a living, and like the more that we can make more like of these dreams come to fruition, the better the gaming industry will be anyways, right? Like it's
Oh,
firsthand
definitely.
experience. You're given good user research information back. It's like win-win.
Um, Last question that I have is, how challenging has it been during this COVID time to work for a gaming company? Because I know a lot of these gaming companies have had to, close down their areas of work, and I think folks have had to kind of work from their home or however it is that they're doing it now. But you specifically, have you been to the office, or do they have you working remotely?
Right now we are working from home.
Okay.
Um, I think that my experience so far with Blizzard though has been shockingly accommodating. Like, I was in the military and they take care of a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Blizzard does way more than the military.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh, it was an honor. I
Yes.
had a blast. But yeah, I was in Florida, right? And I went all the way here to California. That was not an easy undertaking with kids and the whole nine. And Blizzard really made it very easy for me. The transition was pretty painless. They have a lot of good people in place that really care and check up on you. So I never felt like I was, not a part of the team, right? My main issue was like, oh man, I'm not going to be in the office, so it's going to be really weird to get integrated.
Mm-hmm.
But they're really good at making you feel like at home, and I could see myself being here for like a really, really long time. I
That's
love this
cool.
place.
I hope so.
I'm so
That's good.
biased, so hashtag views are my own, obviously. Hey, baby, daddy's on a podcast.
Hey. Well, I mean, on that note, you guys got any more questions before we say goodbye to our dear friend Brandon?
I'm good,
No,
man.
I'm
So,
pretty good.
All right.
You got a lot of
I
insight.
Yeah. We should do like a part 2 or something later. Hopefully, man.
Oh,
Yes,
definitely.
definitely.
Definitely, man. Reach out. We will definitely do it. Play
Yeah.
some games or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get a lobby
Oh,
going.
man.
We're all on Call of Duty, that's for sure.
except
Oh,
for
me
this one.
too.
I'm not a Call of Duty guy.
No.
he's not
Okay,
on
that's
Call of
cool.
Duty. Yeah.
I just got 17
Yeah.
kills like yesterday.
Nice.
on what? Warzone?
Warzone, yeah.
Oh man,
I'm
you're
real
good.
sweaty.
Cause
I'm real
see, I'm
sweaty.
me on Warzone. I'm a guy who just like lay low until
He
everyone
hides.
kills themselves.
Yeah.
I'm aggressive.
Lay low till everyone kills themselves, and then all right, when I need to come out, I'll come out and I'll lay out.
Have you
Ed's
seen
a
the new?
noob. He's a camper.
Oh, that's
I'm
funny.
not
Have you
camping
seen,
because camping would initiate me hunkering down, shooting people from a location they don't know where I'm shooting them from. But I'm just hiding. I'm hiding. That's what it is.
Okay.
surviving and evading.
Exactly.
High level
Sure.
training.
Exactly.
Go play Fortnite.
I play Warzone very, very aggressive.
Okay.
You guys seen Cobra Kai, that show?
I love
Yes.
Cobra Kai.
Strike first.
Strike
Strike hard, no
first.
mercy.
Strike
No mercy.
No mercy.
That's me. That's me in
Great
Warzone.
show.
That's awesome.
We'll be talking about that on our next podcast, by the way. So.
Yes,
sure, for
yes,
sure.
we will be.
All right, Brandon. Well, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you taking
Yep.
the time out to talk to us, man. And hopefully we didn't get you in trouble and everything's good.
No,
shout
we're
out
good.
real quick to Uncle Chuck. Yeah.
Hey, Dad, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Chilling. Grab a beer. What's the matter
and
with you?
real quick, Brandon, before we let you go,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to plug anything, if anybody wants to follow you, if you want to keep it, confidential, we understand. All good.
I'm still getting my my feet into this place, so
Yeah.
I'll be more available
Listen.
maybe once we get
Okay.
more podcasts in. But I
Yeah.
just want to give a big shout out to the guy who got me here again, Kirby AU. You can follow him at twitch.tv/Kirby AU. Great guy, awesome individual. Did something for my family they didn't have to do, and will forever be grateful. So that's all I
Awesome.
gotta say.
Awesome.
And guys, before we wrap up, again, follow us on all social media platforms, Casually Kicking It on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Make sure that you give us the subscribe on YouTube. Give us the reviews on iTunes, iHeartRadio, a lot of eyes here, Spotify. And if you guys want any Casually Kicking It merch, go ahead, hit up Store Frontier, type in Casually Kicking It, get yourself a shirt, a hat. Well, no, we don't have hats yet. Not hats yet.
Not yet.
But we do
yeah.
have face masks. You can
Yes.
get those, sweaters,
Hoodies.
whatever. It's all there. So
Yep.
thanks again, Brandon. Thank you guys
Thank
again.
you guys.
Tom, Matt, I'm Ed. Casually Kicking It. We're out of here.
Peace.
Deuces.